Hello, fourth grade. So you'll see me right up here on top because I got a very serious question to ask you. Are you afraid of big words? Well, that's what we're here for. There's actually a name, it's a disease. And we're here to cure you of your disease, of your fear of big words. But first, let's learn more about it from this song.
I've been afraid of big words since I was a kid. I thought that I'd get over it, somehow I never did. Usually it's no big deal, but every now and then you're audaciously loquacious. It kicks in again. I went to a specialist and said, what's wrong with me? Based upon your test results, it's not hard to see. You're afraid of lengthy words, you're not the only one. Here's what your condition's called, but this won't be much fun. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. If you're afraid of big long words, here's one you should know. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia.
Wow, that sounds serious, doesn't it? All right, so make sure you pay close attention to this lesson. We'll be learning from Tim and Moby on how to help, and then make sure you do your exit ticket at the end so you can cure yourself of hippotalipomososidosis, whatever it's called. Let's cure ourselves of that. Also, at the very end of this video, I'll play the whole song if you want to hear the whole thing. All right, so if we're going to learn about this, I better move my face, and let's go to the next slide. Okay, so first, we've been learning about what good readers do. And we think when we read. We ask questions. We make predictions. We visualize. We do all those things that we've learned about. What we've been focusing on in the last couple ELA lessons was about the unknown words anyway, was about monitoring your understanding. And we had this target. I can notice new or unknown words. So we've done that. I can determine the meaning of unknown. Oh, there's a typo in there. But anyway, I can determine the meaning of unknown words. And you've done a good job with that. Remember some of the strategies we use to determine the meaning of unknown words? Like, oh, wow, this is going to take forever. Oh, there we go. Word clues, like prefixes, suffixes, root words, and similar words. We all learned that. We could just look it up, right? Like on Google or a dictionary or Siri, or we could ask a parent or ask a teacher. Oh, look it's highlighted in red. I wonder what that means. Using context clues. That's like using the words around it to figure out what the word means. And actually, that's what this entire lesson is going to focus on. So we're narrowing in on just that one strategy of context clues. Ah, look at that, a target. So your target for this lesson is going to be, I can use context clues to determine the meaning of unknown words. Now, I know we've done this a little bit, but this is one of the most important strategies that a reader has. So we're going to do this whole lesson just about context clues. All right. It's actually Tim and Moby time, so I could sit here and tell you more and more about using context clues, but guess what? Brain Pop did a pretty good job of it, and Moby's adorable. So we're going to use Brain Pop, and then I'll do the quiz, and then after that, I will come back, and I'll let you know what you're going to work on for the day. And at the very end, you can watch that whole beautiful, adorable song that sounds like it was sung by the Munchkins from The Wizard of Oz. All right, so stay tuned for Brain Pop.
You realize that the world is full of cravens who pretend to be heroes.
Quiet, Moby. You know Throne of Kings is my favorite show. Oh, craven is another word for coward.
A mind needs books, as a sword needs a whetstone, if it is to keep its edge.
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of confusing words in this show. Dear Tim and Moby, what are context clues? My English teacher says they can help me improve my vocabulary, but I'm not sure what she's talking about. Help. From George. Well, George, when we talk about context, we're talking about something's surroundings. You know, like the setting or the backdrop. Take a look at this picture. Can you tell what's missing by looking at the context? Heck yeah, a baseball. You can do the same detective work with words. Let me grab my Throne of Kings books and I'll show you. Yes, I've read them all. That's why I appreciate the show on a much deeper level than you. Anyway, when you see a word you don't know, it's usually surrounded by words you do know. So look at those words and see if they can help you fill in the blank. Take this for example. After dinner, a group of mummers entertained the guests by acting out the story of an evil wizard. You probably don't know the word mummer, but look at what the author says. The mummers entertain people and they act out stories. Can you think of another group of entertainers who act out stories? Right, actors. Mummers is an old-timey word for actors. Of course, there are different ways to look for context clues. Sometimes a mystery word can be defined by its antonyms or opposites. Take this passage. Unlike his genteel brother, Hubert displayed poor manners and crude behavior. The mystery word is genteel. From the context, we know that it's the opposite of someone who's crude and has bad manners. Right again. The word genteel describes someone who's classy and dignified, like that guy. You can also figure out a mystery word by looking for synonyms or words that mean the same thing. Here, take this one. King Adenoid had married the comeliest woman in the realm, far lovelier and more beautiful than anyone in the 12 counties. Comeliest isn't a word we see too often, but let's take a closer look. First, it ends in the suffix est, like biggest, smartest, and richest. So the queen must be the best or most at something. But what? In the same sentence, it says she's lovelier and more beautiful than anyone else. Those are the synonyms we're looking for. She's the loveliest, most beautiful woman in the kingdom. Okay, just one more trick. Sometimes a mystery word will be surrounded by examples that can tip off its meaning. Check out this excerpt. Royalton City was filled with cathedrals, castles, and other huge edifices. Now, castles and cathedrals are both examples of big... Flying monkeys? No. They're buildings, Moby. A cathedral's a building, so's a castle. So edifices means buildings. That's true. Sometimes there just isn't enough context to figure a word out. When that happens, there's no shame in using a dictionary.
The thanes of these hibernal climes are mere vassals of the Iron Throne.
All right, my genteel, comely mummers. Here we go. Let's do the quiz. And let's do the review one. Yeah, here we go. All right. Full screen. Sweet. All right. What is the closest synonym for the word context? Is it synonym, definition, setting, or example? 3 seconds. That's right. It's the setting. It's all the stuff around what's happening, right? Boom. The judge issued an injunction that ordered the accused criminal to remain under house arrest. What is the best synonym for injunction? Now let's pause for a second. Remember, synonym means a word that means the same thing. So what is a word that means the same thing as injunction? I think it was an official command because he ordered him. That's the context clue I'm using. While the people of Gilder were forced to read propaganda, the citizens of Florin were able to read honest, fact-based news reporting. In this example, the word propaganda can be defined through... Ooh, big words. All right, so first let's figure out what propaganda means. Well, people in Gilder had to read propaganda, but people in Florin had to read sort of the opposite of that, which were they had to read honest, fact-based news reporting. So my guess is that propaganda is not very honest reporting, right? So since I'm using the opposite, because Gilder was propaganda, but Florin was the opposite. When I'm using the opposite, am I using homophones, homonyms, synonyms, or antonyms? That's right. Antonym means opposite. Number 4. Unlike the other candidates who stammered and stuttered their way through their speeches, Lily was eloquent. What is the best definition for eloquent? Does it mean well-spoken, musical, quick-witted, or intelligent? Lock in your answers. All right, again, we're using antonyms because it says unlike. So some of them stammered and stuttered, but she was eloquent. So the opposite of stammering and stuttering, I think, is well-spoken. Nice. Number 5. We accept $10 bills, $20 bills, and any other denomination you might have. What does denomination mean in this context? Is it credit card, value of money, loan, or form of currency? Lock in your answers. All right, well, let's see. If a $10 bill and a $20 bill is a denomination, then I suppose like a $5 bill and a $1 bill might be too. So it wouldn't be credit card. It wouldn't be a loan. There's nothing about loans in this sentence. Could be a form of currency, but I think it means different values because I was given $10 and $20, so it probably means different values. Nice. Voldemort was a malevolent force in the world, cruel, violent, and evil. In the previous sentence, you can define the word malevolent through the use of, is it antonyms, synonyms, homonyms, or homophones? So again, let's look at it. Well, what does malevolent mean? Voldemort was a malevolent force in the world. Well, it gives us really the definition right here. He was cruel, violent, and evil. So those words mean malevolent. So when words mean the same thing, then they are what? Antonyms, synonyms, homonyms, or homophones. When they mean the same thing, they are synonyms. Imperialism flourished in the 19th century as the British took control of India and Belgium seized the Congo. What does imperialism mean? A, when one country declares war on another. B, when two countries form a partnership. C, when a country declares its independence. Or D, when one country takes over another. Think about it. Read it for a minute. Lock in your answers. All right, let's look at this one closely. It does talk about actually a bunch of countries, right? Does it ever say they declared war on each other? I mean, maybe seized could mean that. Doesn't really talk about war exactly. Does it talk about forming a partnership? Well, taking control and seizing are not forming a partnership. Those are different, right? When a country declares its independence, taking control and seizing, again, are sort of the opposite of independence, so that doesn't make sense. When one country takes another. Well, British took control of India, or Belgium seized the Congo. It looks like that's what imperialism must mean. Boom. Context clues for the win. All right, the words climatic and climactic have similar blank but different blank. All right, let me say it again. The words climatic and climactic have similar blank but different blank. Woo! All right, so let's take a look. I can tell you that they don't mean the same thing. Those are two words that do not mean the same thing. And so what do they have that are the same? Well, they kind of sound the same, but they don't mean the same. So maybe it's A. That doesn't even make sense because you can't have similar synonyms and similar antonyms. Well, I suppose you could, but that doesn't really make sense. They do have similar spellings, but actually they kind of have similar sounds too. Climatic, climactic sound very similar. They do not have the same meaning, and although they do have different spellings. So I think it's A. I actually don't really like this question. If this confused you, just don't worry about it. All right, number 9. King Max. Max a trillion. Someday, Max, you will be the king. King Max was known for his benevolence. He was said to be the blank, gentlest, and most generous man in the kingdom. What word might fit in the blank? Is it happiest, richest, handsomest, or nicest? Lock in your answers in 3, 2. All right, so we're going to need to figure out what that word benevolence means. King Max was known for his benevolence, just like our Max. He was said to be he was gentle and generous. So it's another word that must mean something similar to gentle and generous. So benevolence must mean something like very kind, very nice, very sweet, very gentle, very generous. Could be happy, right? But I suppose you could be grumpy and still be gentle and generous. Richest? No, that doesn't necessarily mean kindest and most generous. Handsomest doesn't mean kindest or most generous. But nicest kind of does. So let's go with that. We are rocking and rolling today, friends. All right. The performers diverted the guests with a variety of jokes and songs. What's an antonym for diverted? Is it A, entertained, B, bored, C, satisfied, or D, punctured? Lock in your answer. All right, well, if performers are using jokes and songs, then what are they doing? Are they boring people? I mean, maybe, but probably not. Are they satisfying people? Maybe, but we don't know, right? Maybe they're hungry and they didn't want jokes and songs. Or punctured, that one doesn't even make sense at all. So I think it's entertained because that's what performers do and that's what jokes and songs do. So diverted must, oh no, oh my goodness. What's an antonym for diverted? Mr. Ditch. Got to read the question closely. So it actually, we want to know what the opposite of diverted means. So if it really means to entertain, then the opposite probably is to bore, right? So like, I'm diverting you with this lesson right now. Or maybe I'm doing the antonym of that. I don't know. I'm hopefully diverting you, I think. All right, anyway, I'm just going to click the button. Yay, we got it. So diverted does mean entertain. So the antonym is bored. Ah, sweet. We got them all right. Nice job. Now, hopefully the point of that is to help you understand how to use context clues, all those words around, to figure out what those big scary words mean so that you don't have that hippophobia thing that song was about. Stay tuned for your instructions about the independent work part of this lesson while you watch Moby dance. I know none of you just listened to that because you were just watching Moby dance, weren't you? Well, maybe I'll dance then. All right, nice job with the quiz. So here is your assignment. You're going to go into the exit ticket in Google Classroom, and there's a bunch of excerpts. Excerpts are small bits of reading, and they are from this book right here called The American Revolution for Kids. It's actually the same text that we were using to do the unknown words before about like Parliament and King George and all that. And what I did is I sort of cut out a few paragraphs that all have some interesting, cool words that you can figure out with context clues. So you'll read the little paragraph or few sentences, and then you'll answer the question in the exit ticket, and that is it. Another really cool thing, in case you all didn't know this, is as this spins into view here, when you click submit on the exit tickets, there's a button that says view score. And it will actually grade it for you. It'll tell you right away whether you got the questions right or whether you got them wrong. And I can even type in a little bit of feedback in there. So if you click the view score, it'll tell you like if you got it right or if you got it wrong. And then it will even explain it to you to help you teach it a little bit more. All right, so that is your task. You might be wondering why this colonial America versus England picture is here again. It's just to remind you that the text is all about that, right? All about what you're learning in Expedition. So they're small little paragraphs or even just sentences, but just so you know what context the text comes from, it comes from the American Revolution and this whole thing about England versus America that you're learning about in Expedition. So your mind has to kind of go back like 250 years or so and think about that time to figure out the meaning of these unknown words. It's actually a really important skill when learning history because there's a lot of words that we don't use much anymore that were maybe very popular back then, and it can help you understand history much better when you are able to figure out these key vocabulary words. So that's part of why we're doing this lesson, is to help with expedition. All right, so exit ticket, answer the questions, click view score, check out your feedback, and then, I don't know, go get a snack or something. Have a great day, 4th grade.
I've been afraid of big words since I was a kid. I thought that I'd get over it, somehow I never did. Usually it's no big deal, but every now and then you're audaciously loquacious. It kicks in again. I went to a specialist and said, what's wrong with me? Based upon your test results, it's not hard to see. You're afraid of lengthy words, you're not the only one. Here's what your condition's called, but this won't be much fun. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. If you're afraid of big long words, here's one you should know. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. I'm not even joking, believe it or not. Though it's absurd, that's the word, I don't like it a lot. There's one thing I know for sure, so listen if you please. Whoever came up with the word did not have the disease. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. If you're afraid of big long words, here's one you should know. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. I was in my science class when I started screaming. It was cause of a video the teacher was streaming. It was about a lung disease, I hope they all get better. But whoever named it gave it way too many letters. I mean really, who would name a disease pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis? Not very sensitive to people who have hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. If you're afraid of big long words, here's one you should know. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. If you're afraid of big long words, here's one you should know. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstrous quipedaliophobia. If you're afraid of big long words, here's one you should know. Hippopotomonstrous